Hey guys, Text206 here from Deluxe Incorporated, and welcome to the T.L.O.T.T Direct. Today we're going to be talking about all news about the Legend of TyranitarTube Part 2. So how about we get things started with things you've missed. So if you don't know what I'm talking about by things you've missed, on Twitter, we shared a couple things to do with the development of Legend of TyranitarTube Part 2. If you want more little snippets and updates of the Legend of TyranitarTube, make sure to follow us here on these @ on Twitter. Now, let's get into the things you've missed. First thing, the starter evos have been revealed. Here are the first base stages of these starter type Pokemon: the grass type Creep, the water type Sog, and the fire type Sinhorn. And here are their second stage evolutions. Wow, they don't look too bad actually, I kind of like them. Anyway, back on track. These starters are still pure fire, water, and grass types and won't be able to evolve until you meet specific requirements. But I can guarantee that these Pokemon will have secondary typings in their final evolution, my guys. So now, let's get into things that were cut in the Legend of TyranitarTube Part 1. Now, to some cut content from the Legend of TyranitarTube Part 1. So, as you know, if you're able to complete the main story in the Legend of TyranitarTube Part 1, you would be able to access the complete Pokédex for all the Pokemon in the Legend of TyranitarTube Part 1. Sadly though, this was only for the first version and had to be cut out later on due to adding more stuff into Part 1 and we weren't able to export it. So we had to cut out the Pokédex. But resemblance of it is still in there, but only with the legendary Pokemon for the Legend of TyranitarTube Part 1. You'll be able to find these legendary Pokemon, and once you beat them in battle, you register them to the Pokedex, because this world knows there's no Pokeballs for you to catch Pokemon with. Besides, spoiler warning if you haven't got to this part of the game yet, the Purify Balls, which are able for you to catch Super Shadow Pokemon after beating them in battle. Now that that's out of the way, we have some big news regarding the Pokedex. It's kind of a new thing, a spin-off to the Legend of TyranitarTube, but not really. We're proud to announce that the Legend of TyranitarTube is now going to have a spin-off game, kinda, again, emphasis on spin-off. It's not really. It's like an added bonus. We will be releasing a full game for you to look at the Legend of TyranitarTube Pokedex entries. Since we feel bad we had to cut out the Pokedex, this game will have you explore every single Dex entry that there have been in the Legend of TyranitarTube Part 1. And then later on, when Part 2 releases, we will slowly update that to have every single Pokemon in the Makepetal region. This game will be free, and it's mostly just you having T.L.O.T.T's model walk around and interacting with the Pokedex entries. Like you see in the dev room, you would click the picture and then a picture will pop up of that Pokedex entry. Now, for the second thing that was cut off of the Legend of TyranitarTube Part 1. Sadly, we will have to cut evolutionary screens for the Legend of TyranitarTube series. The whole series in general, not just Part 1, we don't think we'll be able to add them to any of the future parts of the series. Mainly because the game can't export it into a whole game file afterwards. So we can't sadly add them to the game. They're not as eventful, but it was to give it more life, to feel like an actual Pokemon game, kinda, but with its own twist. So here, let's show Plusle and Minon's evolutionary screens. have it, folks. Plusle and Minun do evolve in the Legend of TyranitarTube. You can do it in Part 1, Part 2, and also Part 3 when that eventually comes out. We can't talk about Part 3 because we haven't started Part 3 because we need to finish Part 2 first. But Plusle will then evolve into multi-tier with the move Motivation, just like how T.Tar is able to use that move. Once Minun learns that move, it will also evolve into Levi. These new evolutions will give them a huge power boost and a pretty good alternate electric type if you weren't able to get Scar on UT for your first run through. And now we have an originally new Pokemon that also has an evolutionary screen in this game. Well, supposed to be, but we have to cut them out, as you know. So here it is. The Pokemon Sish has a split evolution with evolutionary stones only. So how about we take a look? And there you have it. Sish evolves into Pyqua with the Firestone and Solaqua with the Sunstone. Once they evolve, they will have specifically new moves that each other could not have before. Both will still be fire water types, and that is all I have to tell you about the evolutionary screens. Now, let's get into brand new news for the Legend of TyranitarTube. Alright, so now we're at the final section in today's Direct. But first, we're going to have to start things off with new news of T.L.O.T.T with a bit of sad news. But we'll leave it off with even greater news afterwards. So, let's get the sad news out of the way. The Legend of TyranitarTube Part 2 won't release March break 2020. I'm sorry, but we're going to have to push it back a little further and release it sometime in late August. We're using this time to make the game bigger and better than before and improve on mechanics previously that didn't work quite well in the first part, and expanding upon it and making it much better and smoother and a more fun experience for all. Now, let's get on to the more better news, shall we? Now, let's move on to the better news. Because of this, we'll be able to add even more new original Pokemon into the Legend of TyranitarTube series. And on top of that, we'll be able to take in more submissions for more original Pokemon of your creations. And make sure to send it to us via our Twitters right here, like I showed before. Now, let's talk about two new ones that we're able to show for this Direct. First one is a cute little guy. Name is Poiguana, pure poison type Pokemon, which will evolve into 3 other evolutionary lines. Kinda like Eevee, but it has 3 evolutions instead. And it's not with stones or friendship or whatever. You're gonna have to figure out how to evolve them once you get them into your game. Now, for this second new Pokemon we can talk about today is a new Maiden form called Maiden-Tauros. Maiden-Tauros is a pure water type Pokemon. Ooh, I think you got some bug eyes. No, he's not a water bug type, he's just pure water. It's heavily inspired on those mythical sea cows that are in Legend. Also, you can find him in the Percy Jackson comic series. That's where I inspired from this water bowl from the first place. And also, we created it on stream. If you want to tune into another stream of creating new Legend of TyranitarTube Pokemon, we might do another one in the future. So make sure to hit that bell and subscribe so you get notified when we have another creating new legendary Pokemon. May have teased something there, huh? Anyway, that's all we can share with you with Pokemon today, for new Pokemon at least. But now, let's talk about items. As you probably know, there's like 2 specific items that don't work in Part 1 for some reason. The Diamond Orb and your Z Crystals. Some reason, people didn't remember that Z Crystals actually need a Z Ring to work. So, in the Legend of TyranitarTube Part 1, you'll be able to find your own Z Ring, and then you can use the power of your Z moves. Once you equip the Z Crystal on the T-Tar, then once you have your Determination Power Gauge at 100, you can use a full outblown Z move of your Pokemon with that Z Crystal. Remember, that Pokemon has to be in battle with you in order to use that Z Crystal's power. Now, about the Damage Orb. Obviously, it's pretty self-explanatory. The Damage Orb helps damage switch between his fiery form and his cold Zen form. Obviously, for these 2 Pokemon, they have different movesets. One's from Elder Extreme and the other one's from Sun Extreme. So, how do we do it? Did we merge the 2 movesets together? Not precisely. We made them have completely their same moveset. So, when damages is in fiery form, he will have his Aura's moveset, and when he is in his Frosty Zen mode form, he'll be able to use his Sun moveset. Now, let's talk about one new item that you'll be able to get in the Legend of TyranitarTube Part 2. This item is called the Tim Hortons Ice Cap. Yep, T-Tar's favorite drink is now in the game. Didn't know why we didn't put it in the first one? We didn't know either. We completely forgot that it was his favorite drink, to be honest. So, now, the Tim Hortons is gonna now be called the Tim Mortans, so we don't get copyright. Yeah. The Tim Hortons Ice Cappuccino. Yep, original name now. So the Tim Hortons Ice Cappuccino will heal your HP of you or your Pokemon a little bit, but also at the same time, it will restore your PP. So you know how Big Wang gets his PP up? He drinks Tim Hortons Ice Cappuccino. Yep, that's about it. That's the new item. Wow. Did you expect there was going to be Mega Evolution? Oh, you're funny. There's not going to be Mega Evolution. You're too crazy. That doesn't work in our world. With that, that concludes the end of today's Talk Direct. We have a little bit of announcement to share at the end, but besides that, that's the end of today's premiere. So I'd like to thank you all so much for joining me on this ride. And without further ado, have a good time gaming, guys. Peace out, and have an awesome day. Goodbye.